Hello, hello. Right. Okay. How's everyone doing today? All right. Yesterday, we were working on the item inventory system and trying to work on getting the UI and the visuals all connected up with our logic and data on the back end. And we were getting close. So when we ended yesterday, we had kind of our first pass of getting everything connected up, and we were starting to go ahead and try the Unity side to see if we could get things working. And if I remember right, we didn't actually get any errors, but we also didn't get any results set. So we're going to have to add some debugging just to kind of see what's going on and just kind of continue from where we're at yesterday. And our goal, of course, is to get our item system and the database and the RPC system all kind of working in conjunction with the inventory system from the Fantasy Heroes asset that I have. We've already changed it quite a bit just to match our system. We haven't really changed it much yet. I shouldn't say quite a bit. We've mainly just made our connections where we need them, and we got rid of a few things that we didn't. All right, I went ahead and restarted the server. Let's push play here. And I think what we're hoping for once we finally figure this out is we have about 10 to 12 items set up as test items in the inventory table. And so we're hoping to get them to show up down here. And once they show up down here, I'm hoping that the built-in functionality in this system might allow them to move around in here. And I'm sure I'm going to have to hook into these to update my equipped database and update the inventory database when things are removed and stuff like that. But just that first step that I'm hoping I can figure out is getting those items to show up. So let's push play just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think there was any errors last time though, so it wasn't easy to tell where I was missing the right setups here. It's got to rebuild. I don't really know what I added here, but rebuilding a few of the assets. All right. So as you can see, we only debug line we're getting. I can remove this one. This is just something they have built in. The only debug line we're getting right now is the server connections we're getting established. And nothing else seems to be happening. But I don't have a lot of debugging, like logging turned on this new scene that we started working with. So I think the next step is to add some debugs in several different places to make sure it's flowing like we're expecting. And then we'll probably output some of the results from RPC calls to make sure the data we're getting back is what we're expecting. I might try to use the Unity debugger again, although the last time I tried to use it, it was giving me issues and I just kind of gave up. It was crashing my entire system every time, or not my entire system, but the entire Unity editor every time I tried to kick it on. So, all right, let's see. But I think I've had an update since then. That's why I said we might try it again. I think Unity has pushed some kind of update that I've installed since then. So let's see. We're expecting it to go. Inventory base is kind of, well, actually, I created a new inventory manager. I'm sorry. So when the scene loads, this is kind of what starts triggering all the data retrievals and kind of pushing the next steps as far as the calls and stuff. So we created this on inventory initialized after the start method finishes. Now, did we actually hook into this though? I think we did. So on inventory initialized. Okay, so there's where I'm hooking into it. And then I run the initialize control on, or the initialize method, which does all of the basic kind of setup that I think is needed for everything to start showing up. So let's throw some debugs in and see if it's moving through the flow like we're expecting. So on this one, I want to say on inventory initialized event triggered. This should be ran after that finishes. And then of course over here I can probably do, not there, up in the start. Before that runs, maybe I'll do a quick little debug here as well to make sure the data I'm expecting is pulled back. So I can say after retrieval, we have inventory size count, inventory items, and equipped dot count. That's not what it's called. What's it called? Equipped items. Count equipped items. All right, so that'll verify that our RPC calls are working because we really haven't tested these yet. We set those up at the end of yesterday, and I mean we set them up and thought they were working, but we don't know for sure. Plus, we're doing this conversion routine, so let's. Is there anything in this conversion routine that I need to check? Can I don't know what this would output, but I'm going to try to debug log and just output our item. I don't know what it'll show me. But it'd be nice just to see those. And this is going to run every time we have an item, so this is going to kind of fill up the logs, but that's okay for now. While we're debugging, it's okay to fill the logs up so we can look at all the different data. What else? If it's getting farther than this, maybe down here I should do something. I don't even know. refresh is kind of one of the important things, I think. And I don't know if that action, so remember how it makes us set up an action in the method they have set up? All I was passing was null, and maybe that's a bad idea. Where was that at? I thought it was in this class, but maybe not. Up here, in the initialize, on refresh, that could be an issue. I need to look at, oh, they have a test one right here, okay. Well, but they don't have a test of the action set up. I mean, all that's doing, we looked at that, so it's just setting up a action on refresh. Where the heck did it go? Equipment. Oh, it's in the equipment class. On refresh equals on refresh. So there's already, I guess how I'm reading this is there's already a call. There's already something set up here. Yeah, on refresh action is already set up in equipment. My mind is not translating this setup. Normally I set up the action on the class that I want to trigger, and then I set the invoke, and then the other ones I have them listen to that action. But this is setting that action quit on refresh equals on refresh, which is our internal action. Or yeah, that's the one we're passing, I mean. We're passing an action. Action on refresh. I mean, I can take that out and just code it the way I know how to do it, because this is just confusing me. Or maybe I can look it up real quick. Let's jump over to ChatGPT. It's been pretty helpful. Most of the questions I ask it. What if I pass it this whole method to give it a little bit of context and see if it can explain to me? I have this method that passes in an action object in my C# Unity 3D game. How does this action work? Let's see if that gives it enough to at least give me a, make sure I'm understanding what I think's happening here. So action on refresh is just a callback, a piece of code that you hand into this method so it can be stored and used later. No parameters, no return value. Any method that looks like this can be assigned to action. So maybe I'm just supposed to assign the refresh method in the inventory, base inventory class to that action so that it triggers. What does equipment.onRefresh equals onRefresh do? Somewhere in your equipment class, you likely have this, yes. Now inside equipment, when something happens that should trigger a refresh, it can do onRefresh invoke. So let's make sure that's in there. I mean, it should be. I'm sure there's an invoke somewhere in here. Or not. Maybe it's commented out. Well, it should have still found it when I did a search. It's right there. Why didn't it? Oh, because there's a question mark after it. All right, so it does invoke after the refresh method in here. So I think I just need to, all I need to pass in there is the refresh method in this class. Yeah, so there's a refresh method and it is void. So let's pass that in. I bet that's what it's expecting. Whoops. Come on, I clicked on you. Do I have to set it up that way? All right, we'll try that. So up here in the start method is where it's called. Oh no, this isn't start. This is on inventory initialize, which is being called by. And then we just want to say this dot refresh. I got too many. It doesn't like that. Convert into method group. But it's not an error. All right, let's try that for that part. And let's make sure that that's actually working like we expect. So let's put one more debug in the refresh down here, and maybe even one in the other one in the equipment class. And we'll just say what's happening. So we'll say refresh called in inventory base. Okay. And then over here, when this one triggers, we want to do the same thing, but just tell it which class we're in. Just kind of help us see what the flow is. And I don't even know if these probably aren't triggering yet. Because all I'm doing is starting up and I haven't even got that to work yet. This is going to trigger when We click equip buttons and stuff. Let's see, we've added a few debugs. Let's go ahead and try and run it again and see if this helps us investigate and understand this a little better. I don't think, like I said, I don't think adding that action in for the null is going to change any results yet. And that's the only thing I think we changed so far that could have changed something in the game. All right, so let's look here. So server connections established. And then it's looping through creating those visual items. Yeah, it's not. I was hoping it would show me. I could probably just pull a single entities out of there to just understand what's in there. Or I could probably convert it to JSON first and then output it. That might be a good way to see what's in there. So all of those items ran, which means it did pull back. Yeah, 11 inventory items and 2 equipped items. That's correct. And that's it. Nothing else ran. Okay. That's good to know. So I think that means our action event didn't trigger. Because all of that's in inventory manager. Maybe I set this up wrong and I wasn't watching. So on event initialized. Invoke. So this ran, but this did not work. On inventory initialized. I keep jumping between Java and C#. I've been doing Java so much at work the last couple weeks. Let me look at one that we already have working to make sure I didn't mess this up syntax wise, which is very possible. So Combat Manager has an action, I'm sure. Public event action. And this one's passing a combat object. Now I don't think I need to pass any objects, but I don't know if I have event on mine. That's probably what I'm missing. No, I don't. That might be important. Is that uppercase or lowercase? Lowercase. That could be all I was missing to get this next step to trigger. Do we need to pass something through here? No, because, so here's why. This is a singleton, and we're making these accessible from outside. So in our code over here, we're just pulling it straight from the singleton. It would be slightly more decoupled to just use the event and put it in the event though, wouldn't it? That's okay. We're not gonna do that right now. This should still work the way it's set up. All right, so let's try this again and see if we get any farther on our debugs. And actually, I'm going to turn off this visual item debug because it wasn't doing anything helpful anyways. I mean, I could, if I end up thinking that some of the data in there is not accurate, I can convert it to JSON and then output it that way. But let's see, where was that at? That's in this one. Yeah, let's just get rid of that. We don't even need to comment it out. We don't need to use it. Okay. Let's try this again. Maybe that's all we needed. Maybe we're that close. I don't think we're that far off. We're getting all the data over there. We just have to figure out how to populate that data into their system. Come on. Darn it. All right, server connection after retrieval and nothing else. Boo. Okay. So our event still isn't triggering. But we know it's running all the way up until the event call for sure. So I still just have something wrong syntactically. So down, maybe on my call I did something wrong. Do I need this? No. On inventory initialize, I'm not passing anything in. Let's look at combat manager again, because that one I know works. Public event, is it public? Public. Action. Make sure is there more than one action that I could have been importing? It's just system anyways. Okay. Scroll down. Well, this is when it's running the loop. Let's look for a regular invoke. All right, so there's a regular invoke. And we're passing, those are supposed to have data, and that's why inside of the parentheses it's passing that object. All right, so that part, I feel like this part's right. So let's look at the other side of things. So when I create a listener, where's one of my listeners gonna be? It's gonna be in my combat UI. I think this guy is listening. So instance plus equals the name of it. This is weird. I feel like that's what I have over here too, isn't it? Instance, the name of it, and then the name of the method. Private void and that, and then whatever I passed in. Oops. Private void and the name of it, and I didn't pass anything in. This is not running though. Is this missing? Is this not? I didn't delete anything though. I didn't delete anything. This should be here probably. Nope, that's equipment. Maybe it's on inventory. There it is. So see, it's there. We have the inventory base. Hmm. So close. I'm missing something that's gonna make me say duh. I know that's what this is. It's one of those moments where it's something super easy. Instance on inventory initialized. Should I pass something? I have to pass something? I don't think so. I don't think I have to pass anything. I don't think that's the issue. We know this class is instantiating correctly because it runs all the way through here. We see all these, so we know this line's running. It's not working, but we know it's running. So all of this runs. We know there's data in these items because that's what our debug keeps saying, that the data that we want is in there. Then we're invoking our event on inventory initialized. And our inventory base I mean, I don't need to do this. If the other one doesn't work, this one's not going to work, right? I mean, unless it has to have a parameter. I think it does. What the heck am I missing here? You think ChatGPT would know? Probably not. But I'm running out of ideas, so while I'm thinking, I'll send it to ChatGPT and see if it has any ideas. So maybe I'll send the full inventory base class, the full inventory manager class, explain what's happening. Let's see if it has any ideas. I am going to include my inventory base class and my inventory manager class. I am having an issue where when the inventory manager starts up, it runs through the start method, but at the end, the action event is not triggering the action listener in the inventory base class. How can I get the event to trigger properly so that the inventory base class action listener works? All right, let's add Inventory base and inventory manager. Alright, let that chug for a minute. I don't think I need that string. Taking it off for now. This is a race condition. I mentioned this yesterday. I bet this is right. I didn't think it would be an issue with this way I have it set up because we're making those RPC calls before we're invoking the event. You'd think those event calls would take long enough that the inventory base start will have already ran and set that up. Inventory base on enable. I didn't really do that, so it's checking to make sure it's there. But is it's gonna run multiple times then? I don't understand. I gotta saying to add two more functions here. Okay. Change start into a coroutine so you can wait one frame before firing the event in inventory manager. Okay, we can do that. I'm probably gonna have to start cleaning this up in a way where I'm gonna start using this script execution order stuff. And then I can set up the order they run, and that will allow me to fix some of these issues. But I think for this one, this will work just fine. Okay. So this is going to cause it to wait a little longer than it should. In theory, make the reference. All right. All right. Let's try this again. Let's see if we at least trigger our events this time. Okay. We did trigger something. It doesn't look right, but we're getting somewhere. After retrieval, on event, on inventory initialized, event triggered. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Inventory item controller. Hmm. Okay. We're getting farther. Let's set another debug up. I'm gonna try this real quick. Let me save the scene. Because I have a feeling this is gonna crash. That's what it did last time. I'm gonna try to run in debug mode. I want to see what is stored when it gets to this point. Is it doing anything? I don't think it's doing anything. It's not attaching to Unity. Says it's compiling scripts. And it shows the little debugger in the corner down there in the bottom right. I don't know if that's a good sign or a bad sign. Make sure it's not asking for something on the other screen. Nope. Still going. Hasn't crashed yet. That's the problem I've been running into, is when it starts, it just crashes. Unity crashes. I might have to try and do like a reinstall at some point if it keeps doing that. The heck does burst mean? It's bursting. Do I have to push play? I'm gonna try to push play because it looks like it's done doing whatever it was doing. Hopefully it plays in debug mode. This is different than what I received last time, so maybe it's working now. Hey, look at that. Nice. So what is in this visual item? It has the data and the item detail, I mean. Count as one. The icon did not work. And neither did the sprite. So we have a method somewhere, and maybe this is it. No, I don't think this is it. In our, when we create the visual item, we were trying to pull those in. It doesn't look like it actually pulled those in correctly. Right? Is that what I'm seeing here? What is the move forward on this one? F8. Visual items not null. I can enable equals true, and then right here, it's trying to get the item icon out, but since it's null, that's what's crashing it out. Okay. So we're gonna stop it from running. Did it stop in the Unity? No, I messed up. I don't think I needed to stop it in the editor. I think I just needed to stop it in the on the Unity editor. Not stop it in the IDE, I mean. Okay. So I need to go to Inventory Manager right here. Wait, we're not setting it. Yeah, we are right here. Generated item, base item, icon ID. Well, that shouldn't be null then. Well, maybe that's not what it's. There's another. Yeah, there's this. We changed this though. I do remember changing this, so it's looking if the key, which we have the key. What is this? Does that cache method work? Does this have value in it? Maybe that should be the next thing I check here. Let's check this again. See what we have in that method. We need something in that. I think it's a dictionary object. I mean, it needs to have the list of all the icons so it can find the matching one. Why didn't that run before? Why did it stop here and not stop at my other thing? Inventory item controller. I'm confused. Okay. What am I missing? Because I thought we should have hit the other. The visual item has. I guess this doesn't run until we call it, and we don't call this visual item dot icon until what class were we in this one? It doesn't get called until down here. I guess. Hmm. What's actually null at this point? Visual item's not null. Do I need to run something to set these before it gets this far? That might be the issue. Detail should have the actual, yeah, it has the string icon ID. And it should have the sprite ID as well. So let's see if we can somehow run those methods. Oh, why can't I click in there? Did I lock it up? Or it's because it's not. Yeah, it was paused. Okay, so let's see. So we're doing this conversion, but there's this other thing called, is it an item detail? No, it's in visual item. So visual item dot icon. It's just a getter. I didn't want to change a lot of their code. What is this actually getting back? Do I need to use the item collection for this? Or can I do the same thing myself? So I mean, it's getting the list of icons here. Icon collection, select all of them. And it's adding them to this new object. So that's what we're doing there. Icon ID. Wait, that's the wrong one. So when it tries to run this line, that reference is null. Why is it null? We're passing visual item. It's not null. ID is not null. What's an item icon? Is that just... Yeah, that's just a custom class that they made. Passing this, which is the visual item. How am I instantiating these? I'm just doing a base constructor. I'm just confused. How do I make sure these aren't null? I have to actually pass it. Stop. That in there and then actually tell it what I was looking at because I didn't do that. This descriptible object. All right, let's try that. It's saying to initialize it in my manager, which makes sense anyways. Although I'm probably doing that somewhere else too. Let's um so what I want to look for is um I want to see where it's getting assigned. So if I do item collection dot active equals inventory example. Character editor. We're not using the character editor. I don't think we're using inventory example either. That might be the issue. We actually haven't created this in anything that's actually running because the shop's not running, the character editor's not running, and I don't think inventory example is running. Okay, so that might be all we're missing. might actually just need to create this. So we need a public item collection. Item collection. Okay. And then in the awake function, or the start function, which one does it recommend? The awake function. Wait, I did that wrong. Is that right? I think that's right. Item collection active equals item collection. Drag your scriptable object asset into the field item collection. Got it. Makes sense. If it's done compiling, I can do that. All right, so in the inventory manager, we now have this item collection, so let's drop that in there. All right, now we have a reference to item collection. I think that's what we were missing. I don't think anything I had set up so far had that. I don't think we have like that example inventory script on here. I don't remember seeing it anyways. Okay. I feel better now. Now, did I mess with any of the code? Where was that at? Visual item. That still looks okay. And then in the inventory manager, the conversion. Don't need that. I don't think we need that. Alrighty. Now can we see what happens? Come on, let's go. Work. We gotta be close. All right, we're in a new spot that we didn't get to before. We have all the, look at that. We got a little bit. We still don't have our inventory showing up down here. But the equipped section here's to be working. Now I need to, we're going to have to change some of this because it's not linked to my data items, you know, for whatever's creating this description box isn't working. We'll have to look at that. He's knocking. Mailman. All right. So we have. I'm going to go ahead and stop the debugger. So we got past that point. Refresh called an inventory base. Refresh called an equipment. Okay. Not sure why the inventory is not showing up. Gonna troubleshoot that next, I think. Let's stop the debugger for now, anyways. And so we are running through, pulling all the items in, and we're submitting them to the inventory base class through this call. And what I'm thinking is there's some other class I'm also needing to trigger. Okay, so this is triggering just fine. We're passing in our objects. All right, so there's a player inventory initialize call. And this is probably, so the equipment one seems to be working, right? Or no, this says set bag size. Um, Player items. Did I? Player inventory. Equipment is the equipped. Okay, so that looks right. I don't understand why equipment has a bag size, though. That's what's confusing me, I guess. So right here, we're initializing the inventory. And this runs, what's the base class for this? Item container. We're passing in that same list. We're storing the list. And then we're jumping right back to scroll inventory and running refresh. Hmm. Hmm. Should right here it should be creating the item, right? All right, let's go back into debug mode. I'm a little bit lost. Man, it is cold in my house. My furnace has went out. I've been trying to get it back up before I call a professional because I'm broke. Hoping it would be something easy, but so far I've not had any luck. It keeps shutting the breaker off on the actual system. I keep trying to tighten connections and make sure I don't see anything out of place, but everything seems fine. So I'm not sure what's going on. All right. Okay. If items equals null, it should not be null because we set it in that spot up above. No, it is null. Okay, well that's the quick and dirty here is it's not even getting set. And that's gonna make nothing else run in this. Items is set. Remember it was set in the item container. We're passing in the items here. And then it's supposed to get set. And then that's called by what? That's way back here on my inventory manager, isn't it? Or inventory base. Right here. All right, let's start over. Let's set another breakpoint earlier and watch the flow and make sure it's doing what we're expecting it to. Back up to here. We should have items here, right? Initialize. Inventory manager instance inventory. This runs off of my trigger, which happens after all of this happened. But maybe it's still a race condition and I'm just misunderstanding. So we're going to check that. If it's null at that point, then we have to make this call right here wait somehow. We need to like have it like instead of a yield return null, it needs to yield until the data is populated, I guess, is what I need to look into. That's probably the issue, if I had to guess. All right, so the debugger's still on, or I turned it back on. Now we should stop earlier. And if we don't see a value, if we don't see a value in that list, then it's not done running. Player items. Player items is not null. Okay, that's good. Although I don't know why it's given us an issue then, but I mean, even the individual values are there. We can see the icon. All the data's there. All right, let's step into this method. And items is still there. Where are we at right now? We're in scroll inventory. Let's step into the next one, which will jump up to the item container. Right? We're still in scroll inventory. I guess we need an F7 here. Okay. Item is still there. And we're getting ready to set it. So why was it null? Well, selected is null though. I guess that's okay. We haven't selected anything yet. I could have swore it said that was null though. So let's okay, items is set. Items is set. I just stepped over that. Items should not be null at this point, but it is, isn't it? What? What? Are we back to our... We set items. We just watched ourselves set items. Let's see. So if that was null, why was that null? Visual item. we saw that it set items right here. And since this is protected, it should be accessible from the child class. Hmm. Oh, what is it doing? What did you guys do today?
I went to math class.
That's boring.
Yeah.
You went to. You go up there, fix it. Are you certified yet?
Oh, not even close.
We're gonna have to call somebody.
I wish I was.
We went to.
I did order a breaker. I'm gonna try that next, but it said it would be here tomorrow, and then I got an update that said it won't be here till Monday. So I don't know.
It's okay, Lil. You won't be home.
I did what I could do. It's cold in here, that's for sure.
We need to go get that heater out of the garage.
You guys can sleep in your camper
And put
or
it-
RV.
And put it in front of a pile of trash and burn the house down.
Did you see Lily following you earlier? Do you see when somebody follows you or watches you?
Yeah, but I don't watch it close enough. I can't see who's watching. Only if they talk I can see who they are.
She's gonna eat a rock. Don't eat a rock and then you just.
His name's Bachi. What did you say? What did you say?
Said he's gonna eat a rock and then he's gonna spit it out. Look at that. Like it's a heart attack.
He's not dead yet.
They poop.
Gross.
Where's your ugly fish at?
Guppy?
The one that you just got, Spoon?
Guppy.
He looks so stupid.
What was that?
He looks stupid, look.
I think he's sick. Why does he have black on his screen? You see?
Maybe he's growing.
Can't figure this one out. I'm watching it. I watched it get set. Items has data here. But then when it calls refresh, in the child class, it loses that connection for some reason. But I didn't change anything in these classes. I mean, I shouldn't be troubleshooting this part. I must be setting the data in different ways than they were. I mean, that's what that means, I guess. Because it was working just fine. So it wasn't broken when we started. Where are we triggering the one with selected? Because there's another initialize. I mean, that shouldn't matter. I wonder if it's this ref. This ref stuff is confusing me too, where I'm doing like by reference versus by value. This is running off of this, and I'm only passing player items. That's it. One thing is getting passed. And there's no default for this, so it shouldn't be running this one to begin with. Right? When I step into it, which one does it go into? The bottom one without the selected, which is what I would want to happen. At this point, items has a value. Now we're in the item container. Item still has a value. And we're setting the other items, the one that I'm trying to have data in it. Right there, items has a value. I don't know how it loses that value. Because then as soon as we jump into this... Wait, now what? We don't have a selected. Shouldn't this read like if selected equals no? And then don't run this if it's no? Well, it already does it in there though, doesn't it? So this first loop through is this refresh. So let's run that. Let's just F8. We don't need to step into this one. We know this one's gonna go out. Well, let's go in it. It'll jump right back out as soon as it hits that So this one should just jump out. But selected is null, not items. See, this is so confusing. Oh no, this is lowercase items. Is uppercase items? Okay, this one's not null. Okay, let's keep going. This should not return yet. Okay. Where are we at? All right, now we set items. Item instances. What is item instances? I don't know what that is, but it's null right now. I don't see where we would have set it up higher though. We're on line 130. Is that what it's saying? Okay, skip that because there's nothing in there. I think this is the part I broke. Because we just jumped right over that part, and this is where it's trying to set up instance and initialize the instances. This hash stuff. Now this is saying it's going to loop through 11 times because I have 11 items. Get item instance is going to return no. I think. Let's see what instance equals. It's not null. Let's go into this one and see what this is doing. Oh, it didn't let me in. I pushed the wrong button. Where we at? Inventory item controller now. Sprite set. So far, everything looks like it's working. I don't feel like I've hit anything that's completely broke it yet. I don't know though what this is doing. Do we have extra? Well, I can't look at the editor when it's in debug mode. Hmm. Go down here. Make it run to that point because we were going to loop through about 5 or 6 more times minimum. All right. Rows are 2, columns are 11. Okay. Picked something up when it did the instance. Why did we just set the bag size twice? And the test initialize that used to be turned on, it doesn't even run this on refresh or the set bag size calls. Maybe the bag size just defaults to a bigger size otherwise. I still don't see where it's instantiated anything. Oh, no, I don't know where I'm jumping. Let's look. Where would I look? Equipment? Bag size is set to 16 there. Inventory. So they're there, they're just not. There's too many. It looks like it duplicated them. Or maybe I'm just not understanding. And I told it, I mean, when I was setting up the test data, I only used 2 sprites, so that's why you're only seeing these 2 values. It's so close. We can see that it generated the item. Now there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, it's just 11 items. Oh, I bet the rest of those are like blanks. That's what it is. It's generating blanks. Um, Yeah, see, some of them don't have any icons because there's no items there, and that's what that is. So there is 1224 boxes down here. I don't know why. What determined that, the sizing there. But man, if we could figure out why it's not turning these on, it's pretty much done. We just haven't gotten it to... Something's causing it not to turn those on. Let's think. Let's think. And it was working before, so that's kind of what I'm going with here to try and help me. First of all, we can do this because we didn't run those in the test run. Inventory equals... Oh, that's right. This is just setting it off of the... So we changed the way that was getting populated. That's fine. That hash stuff is... I don't know if it's working right because I did change that. That might be an issue, the way I'm using the hash stuff it's set up. Where was that at? Was that in the visual item class? Don't remember. Nope. Was it in item detail? Nope. Is it in... Still just trying to figure out just kind of the flow of where the data is going here. If what I just did works, I don't think any item should show up in the equip boxes. It's so weird. It's getting all the items created, but they're not enabled. Maybe I should look for something that sets something active or enables. So you can see all the clones down here just chilling. And I mean, they're there. They're just not enabled. Something enables them in the code. Maybe it does this. Maybe it goes through and creates all these so that they're already generated, and then it turns them all on at some point. It's supposed to, I mean, maybe it does it this way to so they don't all like pop up one at a time. I don't really know if that's what's happening. I'm just theorizing. You can see that the turning off the equip did stop that. Hmm. If any equipment is selected, or if any player inventory is selected, or I should say not selected, then just reset the item controller, item info controller, which is the box over here. That's okay. That's not related to what we're doing. This is working because it works on the equipment, the equipped equipment. I haven't tried to use the quick action, but I have a feeling that probably works once I set it up. Now I don't have equip or remove set up yet, so it's not going to do anything. It's going to break. All right, this class is not the issue. It's definitely down here somewhere in this refresh. So we're setting the items. This is our inventory. This is our yeah, this is all of our inventory is what this class is holding. And we do the initialize, it sets the items reference. This is doing what? I don't think it's just setting the positioning of the scroll bar, of the scroll window or box. And then what happens? This base calls the refresh in this class. Instance.set active false. So right here, I mean, we haven't actually generated any inventory items yet. So this is null at this point. So this gets skipped over. This gets skipped over because this hash is nothing, and I don't even know where it gets set. Here, it's set here. Where is this at? This is all the way at the very bottom. So on the first loop through, like we're doing, it's going to skip that section. Which makes sense, because these haven't been set yet. Because we haven't instantiated them yet. And if they have been instantiated, it returns. So the rest of this code doesn't run. So this is if they aren't instantiated yet, the rest of this code. So it gets... It sets the initialize. Is this what, does this instantiate it? No. Hey, Sebastian. Yeah, this is I didn't write this code, and I think because they're doing it different than I would have, it's just confusing me. I think once I finally figure it out, it's all gonna click, but I'm not there yet. I'm really close. I don't know if you saw our test run just a second ago, but the items are there, they're generated, but somewhere the code is gonna have to enable the items. They're all set to disabled when they're first created. So we're getting them created somewhere down here. All right. So I actually have to talk to your other question. I'm setting up a server client architecture for a game, so it's going to be eventually it'll be multiplayer and probably enabled through the web or mobile. So I wanted to keep all of the logic on the server, which is in Java. And this is my Java server, and it's mainly just doing all the data, and then it's using RPC calls to Unity, the Unity clients in C#, and that's what we're messing with right now is the C# side. So we're getting all the data from the server just fine. The issue I'm running into right now is I'm modifying an asset to kind of help me get the inventory set up. And it's nifty. It works good when it works, but I'm trying to convert it to use my server and RPC calls and pass the data in that way. And I just haven't quite figured it out yet. I think we're close. I'm definitely getting my data into their system because it's generating the right number of items. This last step here where I need to figure out why it's not enabling them though is causing me grief. When it gets all the way to the end, it runs the on refresh, which triggers what? What's calling on refresh? Let's do a search for that. And I think I set up an on refresh in the other class too, which I don't think that matters as long because you have to pull them in from the proper class. Okay, so I want to do a find, and we're looking for on refresh. Hmm. Isn't that the class we're in right now? This. Why does it say it's not assigned? Does that just mean nobody's currently listening to that? The other one I added event, but I don't think that's the issue. It's never subscribed to. So we're calling it down here. The get item instance returns the item controller. Um, Wait, is that backwards? It is. I'm gonna try to pass something here while I'm thinking about this. Don't really know if this is gonna help me key in on this or not. Probably not. Am I missing item container? All right. I guess what I need to be looking for is where it's setting this active, because something's happening in that section and it's not running. So let me look for that. Is it set active or enabled? There it's setting it false. And there it's setting it true. Okay. We're getting somewhere then. So 211, I was sitting right on top of it here. If instance equals null, otherwise it should be setting it to true. And then returning the instance. Why isn't that? Why is it null? Item instances. So item instances must be null. Let's do another debug. I want to see what this looks like when it gets to this point. Just to see if item instances is populated. I thought it was. I thought we've already done this. Let's see if ChatGPT said anything at all. I don't think it's going to have enough context to figure this out. Instantiate the item prefab like this. The root game object of item controller prefab is disabled in the prefab asset. And every instantiated clone will also start inactive. Yeah, that's what. I don't think that's the issue, because it wasn't that way before. I didn't have to do this before, and it just worked. Plug in scroll inventory refresh. Items are deactivated and never turn back on. You're doing this. So all existing are deactivated. Then you have this optimization branch, which is getting skipped because this hash isn't set. got to be tied to my hash stuff. Remember, I changed the hashes. I went in there and messed with how the hash was set up in the visual item, and I'm almost positive that's not working the way their old system used to. So I just need to rethink how to make sure the objects are equal, and I bet that will fix it. All right, let's look in the code. So what were we going to do? We were going to, I'm going to uncheck that one and tell it to move forward to the other one I set. That's not it either. This one. Item instances. Keyword this is not available in the current context. Why not? That's odd. Well, what the heck did I just do? Instance should not be null because it just grabbed that, right? Close that. I got too much going on there. It is null. Item instances has only got one entry in it. What does first or default do? I jumped out of that context, so I don't know what that said. But it should have pulled this first one that's in there. If it's null, instantiate. Item instances dot add instance. There should be two in there now. I'm inside that loop. Come on. Okay, so it's looping through and generating all the items. They're still disabled at this point. See how it says set active true? Why isn't it setting it active up here? That just doesn't make sense to me. All right, it's looping through. It's creating the instances. What does this do? What does initialize do? It does a few things, but it doesn't do anything with the game object. Set sibling instance index. Right here, it's looping through again. So the second loop, shouldn't this second loop turn those items on? I mean, I'm not saying that's the best way to do this, but I want to turn that off there. And turn it on where it's at. I want it to go there. Okay, so we should have... I don't know. Let's just go in here and see what this is reading. Item instances has all the items. See, instance should not be known. It's starting over. Hey, Java Grunt. Yep, I'm using Unity and Java, and right now I'm troubleshooting a Unity bug. I don't know if I'd call it a bug. I haven't ever had it working just yet. I'm trying to integrate my Java stuff. I have a Java server that's sending all the data over. And then I'm using an asset from the Unity store that it's kind of given me a head start on the inventory system for my game, but I'm having a hard time connecting my data into their setup, so I might have to rewrite some of this if I can't figure it out, but right now I'm just trying to get their system to work. Once I get there, then I can start editing it and adding in kind of adding in those extra calls and stuff that I need to make everything connect up right. This part I was trying to share this with ChatGPT too, just to have it give me some ideas of what I can do to update the code. And it had a couple ideas here, although I don't know if it really knows the full context. So, I mean, it's mentioning I should be starting this process with these already enabled. I mean, I can try that. The problem is their example code worked fine before I changed it to use my system. So I don't think those have to be enabled. I mean, I can try that though. But what it was mentioning was, which prefab was it? I don't know which prefab it is. It might not be any of the prefabs. I mean, it's already enabled. So I think the code is disabling it, which we've seen. We did find that. So let's just kind of, maybe we should just add a set active and see if that fixes it. I mean, it wasn't in there before, so it's still confusing me, but so right here we can see all the different, let's go to the right section here. So inventory base, scroll inventory, these two. This is where it sets it false, and this is where it's setting it true. At 133, and then at 211 to set it true. So 133 is setting it false. And that's just like the initialization of the refresh for the inventory. This is like up near the top. It's one of the first things it does is set it false. I still think this is the issue because this is something I messed with. So let me try and figure this out. So the get hash, where's underscore hash set? At the very bottom of the refresh call. Let's look at how it calculates this then. Join. Hmm. All right. So it used to read. The hash used to read differently. Right now I'm just doing ID. But the ID is not necessarily unique. So let's pass in when I create the visual item, instead of creating it based on base item ID, which is where? Is it here? It's here. I'm going to change this to my generated item ID. That should be unique in my inventory system. There shouldn't be the ability to have more than one generated item in one spot. Whereas I was using the base item ID before, and there are duplicates over here. So I wonder if those duplicates were somehow causing issues. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I turned off the debugger. I meant to. The equipped section is working. And it's just not doing the set active. Like if I do all these manually and turn them on, it's working. It's there. There's my inventory. 11 different items. Working. I just don't know why it's not turning those on. And in the get hash, I don't know if I'm using this. I'm going to look at how this was originally. Maybe that'll help me. I don't know. I don't remember if I changed this get hash command or not. I'm just going to open it separately in my, yeah, I have another project that has their system in it. That's not the right folder. Let's see, this is in, it's not in data, it's in elements maybe? All right, and it's called get hash. Yeah, see how it's got all of those items? I wonder though, since I'm only passing one item in now, to make the item unique. I don't think I need this join thing going on. I know this has to be the issue. Um, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. Oh my goodness, look at that. That is such a beautiful thing. All right. Oh, it feels so good when we finally figure something out. All right, now I need to fix this. Right now it's only pulling in one thing over here. And I need to look at how this is getting updated and make sure it's pulling the data from my data sets. It looks like it's not really erroring out, but I just need to look at how this is set up and make sure that it's pulling all of my data in, because it should be showing more stats than this. It's just showing one thing, so let's see how that. Oh, it feels so good to be done with that inventory bug. That was about a, let's see, I don't know, probably a 2-hour-ish bug investigation. All right. Let's see. So this is the item info controller, and it should have, let's look at the Unity asset thing here. Get an idea of what's actually on this. So we have the item that's working. I don't remember, I don't think the item name was working. Okay, all the labels are in one section, or the values are in another one. So labels and values, and then name, the item name itself, I don't think was working either. So the item info controller is what has this. Okay. Initialize, we're passing in a visual item. Detail item, base item value. I think this is working. I mean, this is the right location for price, but I don't remember seeing price. Maybe it doesn't show price on the I don't think it shows price on the on the equipment, the inventory screen. It only shows it on the shop screen, so that's okay. For each item tag, we're not using tags. If price and individual item type equals currency, no. That's it. I thought it was assigning more values than that in the test version. Okay, anyways, so we need to build it out. We need to put name. Let's do name as the first. I don't see anywhere in here where it's, oh, here it is, under reset. Equals labels dot text equals values dot text equals null. If price dot text. That's just the reset though. Okay, so we don't want to mess with that. That's just blanking it out. I don't see where we're setting name. Here's where we're setting labels and values based on these. This section that's commented out. Did I comment this out? I'm sure I did. Let's uncomment that and figure out what's throwing errors. Okay, so this could be okay, that would fix that part. Just a whole lot of changing where the data is coming from, and this should start working. Now this part isn't going to work because we don't have our data stored in the way they did. They have it stored in some kind of key value pair list. This is what it looks like to me. That's not how mine is. So I'm going to have to rewrite this section. And just reassign these. So we can do what they did here. We can do the same idea. But as far as how we're adding these, we're not using weight. So I'm just going to take that one out. And then this whole section is just going to have to go. And we need to assign So we probably just need to code what values are going to be in here, right? It's going to be based on if it's a weapon or armor and stuff like that, but I don't like that. I'd rather it be that. And the name's not getting set anywhere, like I mentioned. I need to set that as well. I don't think I saw a name being set anywhere. Okay, let's just add a test one to see if I can get this to work. So let's say I want to add, I gotta look and see what types of things we got going on. I think one thing I want to do is change it from item type to item slot on this first thing. Oh, but this is tied to their item class system. All right, we better leave that alone for now. I don't want to open a can of worms just yet. All right, so I want to add item type or item slot, I mean. And this will come from item slot is visual item, detail, item, base item, item slot, of case. All right, let's also set the name down here. Equals visual item, detail, item, base item, name. Okay. Let's see what that does. We should have a few more entries now in the item info. Oh, it's getting cold in my house. There we go. So now we have the item name working. We have the slot, the item type, and the item level. Cool. So that's not too hard. So we can add a few more things here. So what we'll want to do is we'll want to do a switch statement to determine if it's a weapon or armor. because those two different item types have different stats that will show up. And eventually we'll clean this up when we have more item types, but right now we just have weapon and armor during our kind of our test build here. But this is nice. Now I want to update my data itself and make these sprites actually match what these are a little bit better. I just pulled one test sprite for weapons and one test sprite for armor. So that probably can be a pretty quick fix, just to go find more accurate sprite and icon data. This is acting up, but that's fine. It still works fine. Just kind of hangs off to the side. You try to scroll with your mouse wheel, it little messy, but it works. Now when I click any of these and try to remove them, of course, oh, I was going to say it's not working. Maybe it is working now. Well, it doesn't work all the way, but we were able to remove an item. That's good. So we've got some functionality working. Oh, that didn't work either. I felt like I got lucky there that it even removed an item because I didn't think any of that was coded yet. Okay, so I'm going to add that additional details based on if it's a weapon or armor. That shouldn't be too hard. So right here, we'll do a switch. And this will be based on what item slot it's in, at least the way my data is set up. Doesn't completely match their data. I'm going to have to eventually clean that up. So the first case is armor. Second case is weapon. Those are the only two item types we have right now. Okay. So if it's armor, we have three items we want to add. We want to add resist. And I need to pull in my modifiers eventually, but let's just get this working first. So I have modifiers on my items that should appear showing additional stuff as well. We might have to adjust this layout of the actual UI item because we're gonna probably put more on here than they adjusted for. What was I gonna do here? Resist. No, not resist. Oh, armor dot resist. My bad. Defense. And the last one, just gonna copy this. It'll be a little bit quicker. It's in the same location, except it's blocked. Okay. And then if it's a weapon, this one we're gonna have to do a little bit different. So one's gonna read damage, but we have a high and low damage entries. So we're just going to have to do the first one dash the second one. So this first section, just going to copy this and use it for all these. Dot weapon dot low damage, and then just do a dash, and then do weapon high damage. Okay. And then we have attack speed. And we might have to change. Right now this is in milliseconds. So let's divide this by 1,000. Let's see what this looks like. I don't know, it might not format it correctly. What else? Damage, attack speed, damage type. Okay, so that's the entries, the base entries. Okay, I think that's right. Let's try this again. Okay, so when a weapon is selected, we see the weapon stats. Good. The attack speed's not quite right, because I'm pretty sure there's a decimal, like a 3.5. When the armor's selected, it's showing armor stats, so that's awesome. Looks good. So I just need to figure out how to fix that hex. So I don't know. How can I format a number field C# to have 1, 2 decimal places? When outputting the string. I have to save it as a float too. That's a long. So I don't know. I got all sorts of parentheses going on there, but I think this will work. There we go. It's rounding though, isn't it? Sort of power. I thought that was 2750. No, it's not. It's right. Cool. That's awesome. I guess the next step is to try and figure out how to fix these equip and remove buttons. And a smaller issue, although it's not necessarily an issue, is why do I have so many? I thought I told it I have 16 bag slots and there's 24 showing up. So that's a slightly less important issue, but something I want to tackle. So let's try to tackle how to get the equip and the remove options to work. So these are on, what controller are these on? Buttons, equip is calling the inventory script, inventory base dot equip is what it's calling. So let's look at that. All right, if can equip, I should have looked at what error it was throwing to just to kind of give me an idea of what was causing this. Okay. Can equip selected item. So if the inventory contains a selected item and equipment dot slot. Oh, this is all the different slots. So right now we only have weapon and armor dot any. Here we go. So this needs to change. This is based off of their system and not mine. So types, item types is, can I go to that please? I guess that's not the way to do it. Weapon and armor. Let's do this. Well, no, because we don't want to break their other items. I think this might just be an upper and lowercase issue, because look, these are weapon and armor with lowercase. And it's comparing it to contains type. I don't remember what I set that to. Let's look. I need to go into item detail. Item type. I'm setting that somewhere in the inventory manager when I load the items in, I think. Type equals parse item type item slot case to string. I thought that was working. I'm gonna run it again. I want to see what, if I have a way to, I'm gonna see if I can see what data is in that. Really what I could do is pass it to the item info screen, and that way I know what it reads. See, because this, I don't know if that's feeding correctly. I guess it is. Armor and light. Weapon. This item slot is coming from mine. This has, I mean, this has to be coming from mine somehow too. I think I just I said it differently than they did. It's this here. So right now it reads, if the types contains hmm. Let's debug it so I can see what values are in here when it's running. I wonder if I could have done that when we were already in there. Maybe I don't have to restart the Unity editor to hook into it. I'll have to try that. Okay, and to trigger, oh, what did I break? Oh, I didn't break anything. It's waiting on me. Okay, let's get rid of that debug. That one I do want. Right? Does it hit this every... I mean, we don't... I didn't click equip yet. I thought this would do this for every item. But I've definitely clicked this more than 11 times. Can I turn that back on now? I don't know if that works or not. All right, so what did I want to do? I wanted to click... This dot game object equals jewelry? That's not true. This is a sword. And the type is weapon with lowercase. Which should match what theirs is looking for. So if types contains, it does. Classes count equals 0, it does. So this and this. So this is true and true. And not locked. I mean, locked is false. So that's also true. So it should return true after all that. So if we go up to where this is called, where is this called? Oh, we're in the wrong class. So this is called from inventory base. Is it looping? Your game can override this. That makes me think I'm going to have to override this to make this part work. Is it returning true? No matter what? Or what's it doing there? It's checking every single detail.class. Is that what it's saying? That it's not set? That looks like the fix for that. Because I'm not even set up to use items yet. Equip and remove are the only two buttons that I have that I'm working on. Craft and use are getting kicked down the road. I don't want this in debug mode for now. Just want to see the errors here and just kind of look at where they're erroring out at. a little bit quicker to get to where the errors happen this way. Alright, so I'm going to try to equip a flaming sword of power. It says no. Object reference not set to an instance of an object, which is a null reference. I don't know that I have this set right here. Detail dot type. I know I did. I remember we went through that. Yeah, right here. Detail dot type. And we're setting it. That must not be what it's getting mad about. Is this where I'm comparing weapon to these? No, it says class. What am I saving in class? Oh, I'm not saving anything in class. That's why it's no. Oh no, here it is, right here. Item slot case. Light or sword. For now, I only had two that I was saving it as. If it was a weapon, it was a sword. If it was armor, it was light. I guess that's like light armor. Hmm. Where do I set this? See, this is stuff I didn't think I'd have to update because this was all tied to the original. Oh, what am I missing here? Try to debug this again. It's just not making sense. My brain's starting to get to mush, so I might be just about done today. It says 2 and it should not say 2. Okay. Okay, so the item we're looking at right now is sword. And the type is a weapon. The class is a sword. Hmm. All right, I'm gonna call it today, guys. My mind's not working anymore. But we're getting close. I think what's messing with me now, my theory is that it's tied to this type and class stuff that's in their system, and I need to just make sure that I convert their system to match mine in that case. I don't think they match exactly, and we're running into some of this code where it's not matching up and it's causing these issues. So, but yep, I'm gonna call it for today, and I'll be back on soon to keep working on this. Thanks again for watching.